So what are we going to do in this presentation? So what you're looking at right now is a core suite of tools. I think the actual suite of tools that I use is much larger, but that the excess are probably what you're already using. Tools like Google, Google Mail or Gmail, Google Apps, those sorts of things, Google Calendaring or whatever you're using, those sort of normal things that everyone uses. That's kind of your normal core. These are in orbit outside of those tools. So what I'm going to do in the next 30-ish minutes or so is take you through these tools and why I use them, and to some extent how I use them and how they fit in to my world to make spinning those plates a little bit easier and in some cases more fun. So these are the ones we're going to go through. All right, so let's talk about tools. So the first tool that for someone like me that does a lot of online presentations and a lot of meetings, and a lot of webinars, and just sort of I live online for a good maybe 20-ish, 25% of my work life is spent doing things like this, which as a result, including the podcast and recording episodes of the podcast. The podcast itself, interviewing people, may sound relatively straightforward and easy, and it, for the most part on the surface it is, but the devil is in the details. And one of those details is scheduling, and scheduling people on a giant planet, or a relatively giant planet, with multiple time zones and multiple dependencies, and I can't meet here because of that, or I can't meet at this time because of this, and all those things. In the early part of my podcasting career, I was doing it manually. The whole, hey, what time works for you? When are you free? Let's schedule the podcasts. And oh, I meant 3 o'clock Eastern time, not Pacific time. Oops, those sorts of things. We've all been there, right? And the good thing is there are a number of tools, some of them built into Google Calendar itself, but there are a lot of tools that are out there to mitigate those issues for us. And I put this at the beginning of the deck because this is the thing that kind of caused the most frustration and consternation, at the beginning of the podcasting career, because you go through all this effort to schedule some CEO or some highfalutin photographer or something, and then your ship's in the night, and one of you has to eat crow because you missed the appointment, and it's just downhill from there. So I made an effort, or in the Air Force we would have said I efforted to solve the issue. And this is how I did it. I'm going to just go ahead and share this. So you're looking literally at my account right now. This is a service I use called Calendly. And Calendly is great because it does a couple of things for me. And you may have heard of Calendly before, and if you have, great. There's a number of services out there just like this one. But the main reason I use Calendly, or a service like, not specifically Calendly, because I could use any of them, but the main reason I use one of these types of calendaring programs is it plugs into Google Calendar. So it knows when I'm available. It can respect the times that I say are allowed for people to schedule appointments. So people can only book within those windows. But the really cool part of it is Calendly integrates with another service called Zapier, or Zapier, depending on what side of the tracks you're from, right? So, and what that allows me to do is automate the entire ingest process. So what does that mean? So if I want to book somebody on my show in the old days on This Week in Photo, what I would have had to do is, like I said before, when are you available? Blah, blah, blah. Literally, it could be 20-ish emails, right? Back and forth, if you're lucky, just to get this date nailed. And then, of course, can you send me the images for the portfolio? Can you send me what your title is? Oh, I need your bio now. Oh, what links do you want me to mention in the podcast or in the show notes for the podcast? So a lot of logistics. So a lot of stuff that, frankly, an assistant or somebody would be handling if I had it like that, right? But I don't have it like that. So I got to do it myself and automate it. And how do you automate it? So you automate it using a service. The first step in this series is a service that I use on my WordPress site, which I'll show you in a moment. Actually, I'll show it to you right now. It's this one. And sound off if you can see the screen. I believe you can see Pretty Links. Pretty Links should be showing right now. So Pretty Links is a WordPress plugin that I use. Great. Okay. Good. So Pretty Links is a WordPress plugin that I use that allows me to shorten URLs. So what you're looking at is behind the scenes of This Week in Photo right now, the WordPress site. So right now, you're listening to the Wizard of Oz behind the business curtain. So I've shortened this Dropbox URL into /wizard, which you saw on that slide that I showed you, right? So if I show it, let's just go ahead and edit that. This is what it looks like. So I just gave it a title, which is administrative. This is the direct Dropbox link to that PDF file. And I wanted it shortened to twip.pro/wizard. So what does that give me? What that gives me is now at the end of this presentation, I can give you a memorable URL, twip.pro/wizard, and that will take you to the PDF. Whenever you click it or enter that URL, it's going to bounce through my WordPress site and allow me, you can see right here, I just mentioned it, and it's giving me a record of how many people clicked on that or visited that URL, so I can manage that. And also, if later down the road I do a different version of this presentation and I no longer want /wizard to go to that PDF file, say I want it to go to a Google Slides or a Keynote document or somewhere else, I can repoint it on the fly, not having to change the URL at all. It just changes the direction or the location that URL was pointing to. So how does that relate to booking people for the podcast? Well, it's in here. I'd have to scroll down through thousands and thousands of these, or dozens. But what happens is, instead of people going to, or sort of the back and forth, if I want to book you for the podcast, I will give you a short URL. I don't want to mention it right now because I don't want a bunch of stuff on my calendar. But I'll give you a short URL, and from that URL, it takes you here, right? So now I just say, hey, go to twip.pro/whatever, right? And it'll take you to this URL in here, whether it's a 30-minute meeting. Like, for example, for 30-minute meetings, it's twip.pro/30 minutes, right? For 60-minute meetings, it's twip.pro/60 minutes. If it's an interview, you could probably guess what it is, right? So, and it'll take you to the ingestion page on Calendly, which is basically a beautiful little calendar with a picture or logo up there and showing my availability and giving you the opportunity to pick the date. But when you pick the date, it asks you questions on ingest. What's your name? What's your email? Your company name? Your short bio? What are the topics that you want to talk about in this interview? And URLs. And then it also, at the end of it, it will present the user with or the guest, it'll present them with a Dropbox upload link for their images. So in the end, what I end up with is a calendar appointment that's neatly sitting on my calendar within a window of time that I've specified that, I want to take appointments or take interviews. And within that calendar appointment, in the description, I have all this data. I know who my guest is. I know what their title is. I know what their bio is. I have all their links in one spot. And if I go look at my Dropbox folder, if they've done their job, I will have a Dropbox folder or subfolder named with the guest's name, full of images that I can use to build the resultant post. So when I'm ready to sit down and record, I can just look at that calendar event for notes. I already have all my notes in front of me. I can do all the things that a podcaster does. And after that interview is over and I thank the guests, now I have the podcast file as well. So now I have all the assets that I need to record, produce, or to edit and produce and publish a final episode of the podcast. And all I've done at the beginning was give that person one simple URL. No back and forth, no emails, none of that stuff. It's really elegant how it works. And it really makes you want to do these interviews, because you have a conversation with someone at a trade show or something, or I have a conversation with someone. I'm like, hey, you'd make a great guest. You want to come on the show? Sure. Go to this URL and just find a time that works for you. Boom. That's it. That's all I have to do. And they're on my calendar. Everybody's happy. And then the last bit of this tool I want to talk about is the what happens if something happens, right? What happens if that person needs to reschedule? It's a house of cards. Does it all fall to the ground because that person couldn't make the time that they committed to? No. Calendly sends the person reminders, and within the reminder email that it automatically sends out, there's a reschedule link and a cancellation link. Done. Right? So it basically manages itself. And before the interview happens, like day of, it's reminding them with a link to the place where they need to click through to show up to the interview, to be interviewed. All that stuff is handled. And all I do is, like I said, pull up that calendar event and, sit down here, have my coffee. I'm ready to go. I can do the interview. So really cool. I put that at the top because I can't express how much of a time saving that has been for me, or how much of a stress reliever it has been to not have to wade through gazillions of emails trying to find little nuances of what's what. So definitely check that out. And just to recap, what happens is short URL using this service or this plugin for WordPress called PrettyLink Pro. If you're using WordPress, it allows you to shorten your URLs like that. If you're not using WordPress, you can do this exact same thing with Bitly or any of the other URL shorteners. They work great for this. I happen to like this one because it's on my website, and I can change the URL destination after the fact without changing the initial or the shortened URL, which means anything that I promote, whether it's affiliate stuff or my, an interview or whatever, if I shorten that target URL, now I have control over it. And if I've distributed the main URL, the shortened URL all over the place, I can change where it goes on the back end whenever I want to. So you kind of maintain the level of control. So that's Calendly right there. Okay, now we're going to move on. Love Calendly. Did I mention I love Calendly? The next tool is, it's called Notion, and I'm at just an area within Notion here. I can't show you my entire Notion because it's kind of a dashboard for my world. It's got everything in there, but I wanted to show you this interview section of Notion because this is another piece, another chain in the automation for what I do. So again, rewind back. Hey, John Doe, you want to be on my podcast? Sure. Go to this URL, book yourself. They book themselves. I record the thing. I edit the thing, or actually I record it. But simultaneously with Calendly putting the thing on my calendar, it also populates the guest into Notion for me. So now I have a record of everyone that I'm interviewing, when I'm supposed to interview this person, how long the interview is going to last. All that stuff is in here, populated. Again, this is all automated. I haven't done a thing at this point except have a conversation and give someone a URL. All of these people book themselves into my calendar, and as a result, they show up in Notion as well. So Notion is great. I am experimenting. I may be cheating on Notion a little bit because I'm looking at another app called Coda, CODA.io. A friend of mine was raving about it, so I'm giving it a look. And it's similar to Notion in that it's basically a giant database that allows you to build various views into your data and ingest data from various locations and do stuff to it, which is magical for people like me. Notion is great, has some shortcomings, but its longcomings, I guess, are far beyond the ceiling that I'd ever hit. So I could live in Notion for to the end of time and be okay. But Coda has some features in it that may more align with the way that my brain is wired. So I'm giving it a look. But have a look at Coda.io and Notion. And you can find Notion at notion.so. Notion.so, and just kind of look through. If you haven't heard of these tools, just look through and kind of see what they do, because they, in essence, form kind of an operating system for both your personal and professional lives. So like an overall project management system for everything. One of the gurus that I follow online, the productivity gurus, his name is Tiago Forte, I think it is. And he has a system called Second Brain, and he builds what he calls his second brain inside of Notion. And the idea, it's much more complicated. I'm sure I'm oversimplifying it, of course, but the idea is take that stuff out of your head that is cluttering it up and causing you stress. That you're all these the myriad of to-do lists, whether they be your daily to-do list or your I got to get these things done on this project at work, or we're planning on going to Europe, so these are the things that I need to get done in order to make that trip happen. Or even things like scheduled maintenance. I need to make sure my car, I change the oil every whatever interval, or change the filters in the air filtration system in the house every whatever. All these things clutter up our minds and cause stress, right? But once you dump them out of there into a system like this, and you have it neatly laid out and you trust it, you can let go of all that stuff and just kind of sit down at your computer or your phone or your tablet and know exactly what you have to do next. For me, with podcasting, it's been a sea change for me, because now once I sat down and kind of understood how all this stuff works, I could go in and know that I have a record of everyone that I've interviewed. I can go back and find their data. If I'm going to interview them again, I can review what we talked about before, all this stuff. And it makes recording the podcast much more enjoyable. And the editing process doesn't become a wild goose chase or an Easter egg hunt for content. Like, hey, what's your title? Or can you send me images, or blah, blah, blah. It's all automated, which is a powerful way of being a solo operator, because it's just automated. And I'm a podcaster, right? So everything is sort of, I'm biasing this conversation towards podcasting and doing that sort of thing, but it doesn't matter, right? Whatever you're doing, this kind of thing or this kind of automation gives you a level of superpowers that most people don't have. And it allows you to do a lot of things and appear much larger than you are. So any questions on this? Again, throw them in the Q&A. We'll get to them in a couple of minutes as we get towards the end of this. So the next tool that I want to talk about that you saw on that slide is this one you may not have heard of. It's called Rytr, Rytr. And here's a quick piece of trivia that I'll throw in there. I just learned this today. That whole trend of dropping the vowel, RYTR, flicker, FLIKR, those, all that. I just learned today that was originated with Flickr. Flickr started that. It's really cool. But Rytr is really interesting. Back to magic, right? And speaking of magic, I'm going to show you some magic at the end of this that you may find interesting at the end of this presentation if we have time. But Rytr is an AI copywriting tool. Let that sink in for a second. It is an AI copywriting tool. It gives you a great head start on writing stuff, right? I use it sometimes, usually for like sales letters or things that I'm getting the sort of blank screen freeze with. This breaks the ice on that, and sometimes gets you almost to the finish line with that. So I want to demonstrate how it works real quick. So here we are inside of Rytr, and you can check it out yourself at rytr.me. So let's select a use case. Let's say, hey, you know what? I need to write, what am I writing? I don't know. How about, you got an email in here? How about a video description? Should we do that? Let's do a video description. I got to write a video description for a video. Let's dream up a fictitious video. So I'm going to UK soon. I'm going to Birmingham for the photography show. So I'm sure I'm going to record some videos there. So let's make it about that. So the video title, let's give it a title. And they've got an example here, how to use AI writers to create high quality blogs in minutes. So mine will be, I'm going to give it a title of my first visit to Birmingham, UK as a photographer. Let's use an exclamation point. Okay, and down below that, I can say, how many variants do you want? I want 2 variants, so it's going to give me two different variants. And then the creativity level, optimal. These are all kind of subjective, right? So I'm just going to leave it at optimal. Like, why wouldn't you use optimal? I don't know. So I'm going to use that. And then, so basically, I just wrote this one paragraph. I told it what I wanted. The English, the language is going to be English, and I want the tone to be convincing. Or do I want it to be, let's say, convincing, assertive, let's say enthusiastic. I'm enthusiastic about going to Birmingham. So let's do it. Let's see what it gives us. All right, so here we are. This is copy while you wait live during a presentation. Let's see what it says. In this video, I show you some of my favorite shots from my last trip to Birmingham, UK. I toured around the city, getting the best shots of the town and learned a lot about the culture in this lovely place. This video is perfect for those who want to travel to Birmingham or are looking for photography inspiration. That's great, right? And I didn't do a thing, right? I did not do a thing. And then the second variant is, what do you get when you mix a photographer from sunny Florida and a kid from Canada and an Aussie who grew up on the beach? One happy city, right? There you go. Right? Is that not crazy? I mean, come on, right? In perfect English, it's, perfect grammar, it's written that out. So let's do it again. Maybe that was a fluke. Let's do it again. Let's find something else. I need a profile bio. Yeah, let's see a profile bio. So this is the example: experienced content writer and digital marketing expert with a decade plus experience of working in startups. Okay, that's about me. So I'll say I'm an experienced podcaster and photographer looking for employment with a large photography centric company operating in the San Francisco. Oh, that's it. I can't go any farther. Okay, so it stopped me. I'm too verbose. Large photography centric company in Silicon Valley. See if that'll fit. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, let's go with 3 variants. I don't want to be enthusiastic. I want to be more professional on this one, or formal. Let's make it formal because it's that. Okay, so right for me. Let's see what we get. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Here we are down here. This is less than great. It says, I have a degree in journalism and have experience as an editor for a podcast, but my passion is photography. I'm looking for an opportunity to use my skills to grow and learn. I would not hire that person. I don't like that. I've been doing this for years now and still learning. No, I'm a camera magnet and I'll be the one with the big lens pointed at you. Yeah. This guy is not getting hired, right? So that's a trash resume. So let's try it again. Or trash bio. Let's try it again. Let's go convincing this time. Right for me. Let's see what it does. Okay, I've been a photographer for over 5 years and I'm the host of a popular podcast on the topic. I have experience in photography, videography, and social media. That's not bad. Passionate about who, what, and where and how. Looking for a company that cares about this too. I've been podcasting for over 4 years. Remember, this is a bio, right? This is part of a bio. This is not a resume. I've been podcasting for over 4 years and I've created 5 podcasts of my own. I shoot weddings, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so interesting. You get the gist. Hang on one second. Okay, so you get the gist, right? It's a tool, right? It's a very quick tool that lets you generate copy. I want to do one more. This is actually really fun. I want to do one more product description. So let's create a fictitious product and say the confabulator is an amazing, let's call it AI-based computer that will outperform any modern, I can't type today, computer in the market today. It features quantum processors and vibranium and a vibranium core. Okay, let's see what it does with this. I have no idea, because this is good because vibranium is not, it's trying to get me to spell check that. So it may not even know what that is. So for this one, this is a product description. So I want to be friendly. Now let's keep it optimal and let's make the tone, because I'm selling something. Let's go enthusiastic again. Okay, right for me. Oh, product name. I need a product name. All right, give me some names in the chat. Give me some product names for our fictitious name for the AI to write our product description for. The first name gets it. Come on, chat. Give me a product name. I see no product names in the chat. Quibbit. Quibbit? Okay. Or Qubit. Qubit. Okay, Qubit. There it is. Our product name is Qubit. Thanks, Maurice. There's our product name. So let's write it. Let's see what we get. All right, here we go. Down here. Oops. Qubit. Qubit has been in development for years, and it's finally ready for the world. It's a computer with a quantum processor and a vibranium core. It's the future. It's available today. Okay. Introducing the world's introducing the most advanced AI computer today. The Qubit is guaranteed to outperform any computer on the market. It's powered by a quantum processor, blah, blah. So you get the idea, right? It gives you a starting point that then you can move it around. I think this first one was the best. I should have stopped there. But it's pretty killer what you can do with it. And you can see how, back to the Wizard of Oz theme, right? This is the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. How the hell did you write all that copy? Or how did you come up with all those ideas or all that stuff that's flawless overnight, Frederick? Well, I know a guy. His name's Rytr. He can do it. So check this one out. It's at rytr.me. It's pretty cool. And I use it from time to time, not all the time. But it's interesting. The more I use this Rytr, and I also use a tool called Grammarly. You may have heard of that one, that spell checks my grammar and all that, or that checks my grammar and my spelling. It works in the text field of most applications. Since I've been using that thing for like 2 or 3 years, and my grammar has improved markedly. Look, how ironic is that? But with Rytr, I find myself using the tool better and it making me better as I use it more and more. So these tools they're kind of like a crutch, I guess, right? So if you're using a crutch, you got a broken leg, and then that leg heals, you don't need the crutch anymore. It's kind of like that. The next one that I want to show you, we're at 4:22 now, so we're good, is this guy. This one is a service called Swipe Pages. Swipe Pages, and I use it to build all the landing pages for This Week in Photo and other projects that I'm working on. And this is really cool. It's kind of like a service that's really expensive called Lead Pages, LEAD Pages. Only this one is a fraction of the cost and does the same thing. Literally the same thing, without the marketing budget of Lead Pages or all the hype or the flamboyant CEO and all that stuff. This one gets the job done. And I put it in here because, again, it is one of those arrows in my quiver that lets me get stuff done. So with this, I can deploy a landing page. I can sell a course. I can, I've built a number of templates in here that I can just deploy and sell a product really, really quickly. And it just gives me that level of superpower. So if I say, hey, I want to record a course today on mobile phone photography over the next couple of days, and I record it and I edit it and I get it ready and it's hosted, now I can just spin up a landing page really quickly without looking for a designer or paying through the nose for one of those other more mainstream services. This is kind of one of those secret services not a lot of people know about. So definitely check it out. It is called Swipe Pages. All right, so we have about 10 or 15 minutes left here. So I'm good. That's why I'm going kind of fast and I'm not spending a lot of time on some of these, because there's one that I want to show you at the end that if you have not seen it, it may knock your wig to the floor. Just saying. So here we are again inside of TWIP. Okay, so this is another WordPress plugin. What you are looking at right now is WordPress. It's a tool called Fluent CRM. This is a section of the app that shows some of the emails that I've sent over the past couple of weeks to the TWIP community. These are small emails that have gone out for the most part. So why am I using WordPress to send my emails instead of something like MailChimp or Constant Contact or ConvertKit or Drip or any of the other services like that? Well, because my email list is 600,000 strong, right? So there's 600,000 contacts on my email list, and those services charge you by the contact. So, if you have, I am in the level of, when you're looking at the pricing table, and the end of the pricing table, it says, call us. I always have to call them, right? If I want to host my stuff on their services. I don't market like that or I don't monetize my email list to the degree that I can afford to pay for, thousands of dollars a month just to house my email. So when searching, found Fluent CRM, tested it over the span of like 6 months or so with my list size, which is gigantic, right? This thing is flawless. It works great. So I am able to ingest all of my context. As you can see down the side here, I can build automations, forms, all the things, and it's all integrated with my WordPress site. So it is really cool. So I'll go into one here. This is an email that went out a couple days ago. So as you look at this, so again, I'm not in some fancy email program. I am inside of this this app, right? Which runs on my server with my contacts in it, and I'm not paying them for it, right? I'm not paying a monthly fee that some CEO said I have to pay. So this is the way it works, and you build your email. So let's go ahead and build an email inside of here. So if I go to, actually we're running out of time here, so I'm not gonna dive into building emails on this one. Suffice it to say, go check out Fluent CRM if you have any need for email marketing, because this tool basically replaces all that. On the back end of it, just real quick, the front end of this is what you're looking at now, where you build emails and you manage subscribers and you do all the good things. The more important piece of this is actually sending the emails and having those emails arrive at their destination, right? That's the magic piece. You can make it pretty on the front end all day, but if the engine sucks, who cares? The engine for This Week in Photo, or for Fluent CRM, ostensibly This Week in Photo, is Amazon. So Amazon has a service inside of their sort of the suite of products that they offer, their business products that they offer, called Amazon SES, Simple Email Service. And it acts as the back end for this service. So when I send emails, I'm not sending them through my website or through Chrome or through Gmail or anything like that. It is going through Amazon's powerhouse service network, and which is the same service that those other guys use, like Mad Mimi and MailChimp and all those guys. They're also using Amazon as the back end, either Amazon or Google or Microsoft. So I'm using Amazon as my back end. The only difference is I control the front end. I am my own tech support. So, but it gives me the power to be able to host a, knocking on 1 million subscriber email list and do what I want to do without being beholden to those guys. So that's the reason I use that one. So definitely check that out when you have an opportunity. All right, so that's Fluent CRM. Next up is, which you may be surprised to see, Canva.com. In fact, Canva.com is what I've used to build, as you can see on the screen here, the last gazillion presentations that I've delivered. They've all been built and delivered using Canva.com. The number of professional templates and the flexibility for modification or modifying those templates that Canva.com offers is staggering, right? It is staggering that you could just get lost in searching for templates and different things just as starting points for whatever your project is. I use it mainly for templates, and I also use it for, if you look down here, like right now, we're in the Wizard of Oz presentation, right? If we come down here, this is how I build my thumbnails for all my podcasts, right? All the podcasts. These are YouTube thumbnails. So right here, you can see these are the recent episodes that I've released. They've all been built in Canva. And I want to show you real quick how this works. So what I do is, like, Scott McDermott, like I said, was the most recent one. So if I recorded another episode and I need to build a page for it or a thumbnail, I'd come here, I'd duplicate it. Now we have a duplicate of this one, and we'll say this is Brian Rim, and he talks about being the modern troll. Sorry, Brian. Brian Rim is the modern troll, right? So Brian Rim as the modern troll. So let me show you something really cool about this, though. Let's delete Scott out of here. I don't have a photo of Brian, so I can't put him in here. So, and he probably come get me anyway. So let me go find a picture in Canva's extensive library of photos, right? So let's find a photo of a man, right? All right, here's Brian Rim. Which one of these should be Brian Rim? Let's see. This is how I imagine Brian Rim looking right here. All right, here's Brian Rim, okay, being the modern troll. Now, let's get this background out of here. This is what blew my mind of this tool, right? This is some of that magic. Okay, so I'm going to click that. I'm gonna click edit image, BG remover, background remover. Boom. Okay, now watch. This blew my mind. This is what sold me on Canva and had me upgrade to their pro level. I'm not sure if this feature is a pro level feature or not, but if not, it should be. So what it's doing, it's sending the server or that image to the server and doing some of its magic on the server and creating a ridiculously detailed mask that would have taken me, on that background, I probably could have done that in Photoshop, relatively quickly, not that quickly, but I could have pulled it out with ease and made it look that cool, that clean. But this thing, I'm going to show you one more example of that. It can pull things out of backgrounds that you wouldn't believe. So, oops, let's undo that. Let's come back. So anyway, you saw that background. I don't want to waste time on that. Let's pull it. Let's go get something that's a little bit more complicated, like a shot with a more here you go. Here's a shot of somebody sitting on a background that's kind of fuzzy and it's busy. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this image and use the background remover on it. Let's see what it does with this. And by the way, I've done this on all kinds of images, challenging, not challenging, busy backgrounds, plain backgrounds, and it's hard for it to fail unless I'm doing a presentation, then it might fail. So look at that, pulled him right out of there. Boom, here's Brian Rim. Brian Rim is the modern troll right there. Click out of that and it will mask him into there just like that. Done. You could throw a drop shadow on it. You could do whatever the heck you want. Then you export just this page and you have a 16:9 thumbnail background for your show. Ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. And I do this every week. And plus you can, obviously this template is modifiable. You can change anything you want on it by just clicking and moving on it. You can animate these templates. You can do a million things with this. And I'm serious. I've thrown some crazy images at this thing and it just works every time. So check it out, canva.com. That's just one thing, right? So just real quick in Canva, like I said, I use it for thumbnails. I use it for slide presentations like this one. It's like, for example, here's exploring the metaverse, right? Nope, actually, that one was too short. Let's go back and find one that's a little bit longer. NFTs for photography and motion. So here, these are all my slides down here, right? I can present to this screen. If I present now, it's going to go full screen on me. I can also present autoplay, so I can play this and just narrate on top of it. I can present and record, have it play the slides with predetermined, like up here, you can see the duration for the slide. If I play and record, it's going to play and record, obviously, and let me narrate the slides, i.e. create content really easily, or presenter view, where it'll place my notes on this screen and my presentation on another screen so that I can appear that I know what I'm doing, right? So really cool stuff. You can do, obviously all the things in here like greeting cards and blah, 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 right? All that stuff, whatever you need. I use it very sparingly, usually for presentations and for thumbnails and some fun stuff like that. So really cool. I highly suggest you give it a look. It's really, really kind of amazing. These last two, okay, so OneStream Live is crazy, right? So you've seen these services before, like Restream.io and a bunch of them. OneStream Live is a tool that lets you essentially, not even essentially, it lets you authenticate your OneStream account against all of these services, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, multiple YouTube channels, some of the lesser known ones, TikTok, Vimeo, all these guys, just on and on and on, right? All these different services, if you have accounts on them, you can stream to them. Not only can you stream to them, but you can pre-program or pre-upload a show or a live stream and schedule it to stream later, right? So I could sit here, I'm like revealing all the secrets. I could sit here and record an entire season of This Week in Photo if I wanted to, or an entire season of some show, or an entire webinar, or whatever. Upload it here, promote the hell out of it, set it to stream on a specific date and time, right? I can add it to my scheduling queue here, and it'll just go live. It will just go live at that time on all of the channels that I tell it to go live on without me doing anything. right? It will just, yeah, Brian, yes, it will stream. It will go and stream to all of these channels automatically, which is crazy. The other cool thing about this is, depending on your account level on, say, YouTube, like my account level is, I've been on YouTube forever, so maybe and I'm trusted because I haven't uploaded anything stupid, but I can initiate a stream and have it go on in perpetuity, like days, if I wanted to. So how about this scenario? I've recorded hundreds and hundreds of episodes of This Week in Photo. What if I decide I want to make a This Week in Photo channel that's always on, right? I go and select my favorite 300 episodes, load them into one stream, and say go. And it's just going to stream forever, right? And then I can take that embed code and put it on This Week in Photo as the TWIP channel, and boom, whenever you tune into the TWIP channel, there's going to be something playing on there coming from this service, right? It doesn't cost you anything. I mean, the service is not free, obviously, but streaming is not going to cost you anything extra. And it's not streaming from your house, right? You're uploading things to their server, and it's just on autopilot after that. If your house, you lose power at your house, the stream's still going to happen. It's pretty amazing. I love this stuff. So these tools have come to a point now where, kind of like when mobile phones or smartphones showed up, they revealed all kinds of other opportunities for people. Like with smartphones came Uber, right? And Airbnb and Lyft and drones and all these other things showed up, because now we have the smartphone that opened the doors for entrepreneurs and smart people to think of all these other things they could do. Same thing with these tools like OneStream, being able to post schedule streams for whenever. Like if I'm feeling this Christmas spirit, let's record a Christmas episode now and then schedule it to go live at a certain time on December 24th. You could do that, right? No longer are you tied to having to be perfect on camera when you're doing a stream. You can pre-record that stream, edit it, make sure it's perfect, put in your graphics, even put in some fake mistakes if you want to, right? And then stream it and you're good. So yeah, be sure to check it out. OneStream.live is the URL, OneStream.live. Make sure you grab this one, because I did not put this one on the slide in the slide deck. I did not have time to do that. And then lastly, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for those. Those are the ones that I wanted to go through. First one is from Ivan Taylor. Ivan says, how far in advance are you booking people for your episodes? Really good question, Ivan. The cop-out answer is it depends. The real answer is I'm typically about 5 to 6 episodes ahead. But that is fluid, because if I record an episode that's timely, or the guest says, hey, I have something coming up, can you please publish it on this date? I'll rearrange the calendar for that guest. But I'm trying to get to like around the 3 episode in mark. So I've got 3 episodes in the can, publish one, record another one to keep the queue kind of filled. I never want to be in a situation where I'm scrambling to find a guest for the week, right? You never want to be there, which I've never really been in, maybe once or twice over the last decade. But yeah, I try to get to that point. I'm not the person that wants to record that week for that week's episode. Sometimes I do that, like Scott McDermott is an example. I recorded Scott McDermott day before yesterday and edited it, but I wanted to release it yesterday because of reasons that would be revealed inside that interview. So anyway, that's the long answer to a short question. Brian Rim says, how do you figure out the cost return on all these services and plugins? Seems like a lot of subscriptions involved. Good question. Strangely enough, most of the services that I showed you, aside from Calendly and Notion, Calendly and Notion were lifetime offers from appsumo.com. So if you've heard of, go to AppSumo, AppSumo.com, appsumo.com, and check out what they have there. So real quick, the gist of what AppSumo is, there's, say you have a great idea for a software as a service company. I'm going to revolutionize email, come sign up for my service, right? You have to get a bunch of people in there to try it, to help test it, bang on the doors, but also just to get some critical mass so that you're getting the word out about your service. What AppSumo does is they step in, they say, hey, we'll put you in front of our gazillion member audience, but for a short period of time. But for that period of time, you have to offer lifetime deals at a severely discounted rate. So services like OneStream, I think I paid like $100 for it, something like that. And now I own it for life. Same with Rytr, same kind of thing. So go there and sign up for it, and they email you when new things show up in their directory. There's a bunch of things in the directory now, but as things show up for a limited time, grab them. The Fluent CRM was the same thing. That's where I found Fluent CRM from, was AppSumo. I was looking in there. I'm like, holy heck, if this works, then all my problems are solved. I can actually have a place to house my entire email list. Let me try it out. So I tried it out on a test server, worked. Then I tried it out in the real life, and nothing's been the same since. And Maurice says, for the last question, second to the last question here is, in Canva, can you export to something else? You can. Well, when you export, let's see, let me stop the screen share and I'll take you back inside Canva and show you what it gives you real quick. Can I do this in 1 minute? Probably not. Yes, I can. Okay, so here we are. So let's go ahead and load in this one. So Brian Rim, the modern troll. So up here, you see export, right? So if I click share, it gives me all of my export parameters or preferences. So you can download it. You can change the size of the download here. You can change the file type and download it as video, GIF, PDF, et cetera, et cetera. What you cannot do is you cannot change, you can create video like Instagram stories and those sorts of things inside of Canva. You cannot export something that's compatible with Premiere, DaVinci Resolve, or Final Cut Pro, or I do all my editing in Final Cut Pro, but it cannot export as into Final Cut Pro. You can export an MP4 or an MOV file and then bring that into Final Cut and do some finishing on it, but you're not going to get a Final Cut Pro project out of it. All right, and then one more question. Perfect question to end the session on. Thank you, Brian Rim. He says, do you blame the Air Force for making you this way? Yes, I do. I blame the Air Force and I blame Apple for making me this way. Those are the two entities that made me what I am today, and my dad and mom. All right, so we'll leave it right there. Thank you all for coming in. I hope you guys got something out of this sort of non-conventional or unconventional presentation. I really wanted to just give you a glimpse into some of the cool tools that I use to get things done around here. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll